Hope Talks, cancer ideas worth spreading.
Well, hello there. I'm Bill Roth, the voice of the Hokies. I am so excited to be able to talk with you folks today. I really wish I could be there in person to talk today. Unfortunately, I'm out of town. What you're doing is so important, not only for your families, but for mine as well. You know, we're recording this interview today, or this quasi-speech at the Virginia Tech Hall of Fame, and over my shoulder here are pictures of great Virginia Tech games and great Virginia Tech athletes over the last century. And for me, having been at Tech for 25 years, it's like looking at my family, or my second family. And it's always fun to come over here and look at the great names, the great moments, and the great pictures of Virginia Tech's past. It's my second family. If we were in my house looking at the family, the Roth family, we'd be seeing a tremendous group of people. And unfortunately, cancer has really affected my family. I've lost both of my sisters and my mom to cancer. And so I relay for all of them, of course. But today what I want to talk about is specifically my sister Linda, who passed away 2 years ago after really battling cancer. And you know, it affects everyone. And you hear that, and everyone in America knows how awful cancer is and how it affects the victims. But it really affects all of us. And it really affects when it's someone you love in your family. So I want to talk a little bit with you today about Linda, because she was without question the most unlikely cancer patient ever. My sister was a tremendous athlete. She was in her 50s, didn't look like it. In fact, when she would come to Blacksburg and we go to Sharkey's or Tots, when she was in her mid-40s, she would get carded, of all things. She had long blonde hair, beautiful woman, and worked out 3 times a week, never ate red meat, never smoked, took vitamins all the time, a true picture of health, never sick. She had never been sick. And she was driving back from her gym, and she noticed these bright red splotches behind her knees, bright red like ketchup. And she pulled out her cell phone and she called her doctor on her doctor's cell phone, and she said, "I'm driving home from the gym and I've got these red splotches behind my knees. What could it be?" And her doctor said, "Get to the hospital." And Linda said, "What are you talking about? I don't even have my wallet with me or my health insurance card." And the doctor said, "No, get to the hospital. I'll meet you there." Well, it turned out those red splotches were blood clots, which, as many of you know, or maybe you don't know, is a side effect of a specific type of lung cancer. And Linda never smoked. She had one victory cigar several years before this, but never smoked. She was a tremendous singer, and so her voice was her life, a composer, a musician, but she sang a lot, and so she would never, ever touch a cigarette. But here, she's in the hospital on blood thinners because she has lung cancer. And we're trying to figure out how that could possibly happen. And I flew out to California, and I'm in the room with her when the oncologist comes in and delivers the news. And it's heartbreaking to hear those words, "You have cancer," and especially when you're a picture of health. She was completely asymptomatic. She had no trouble breathing. She didn't cough, but she had stage 4 lung cancer, and she battled it. And that's what I'm going to talk with you about today, because what you guys are doing today, and what we're going to have on the drill field coming up later this spring, is so important, because we've got to put a stop. We've got to put a stop to it. We've got to fight it, and that's what you guys are doing. For the individuals that go through it, the fight is incredible. She went through every imaginable type of drug, including chemotherapy. And when you're talking with someone who you love, and you see them deteriorate, and you're on the couch watching a movie or watching the news or eating popcorn and trying to keep the popcorn down, as it was the case with Linda for those months, it's tough. And I talk with her a lot about it. You know, the conversations you have with someone that's going through this are not the typical brother-sister conversation. And I said, "Well, what does it feel like?" You know, I get paid to describe things, and some people have a hard time describing what they're going through, what they feel, or what they see. And she, is a composer, a musician, was pretty good with words. And she said, "It feels like my blood's on fire. If you open my veins right now, it would become boiling out. And my organs feel like I've been hit with a baseball bat. My abdomen and my back. That's what she said it felt like. That's the treatment feels like. And she fought it. And for our family, it was interesting how it brings a family together, just like everybody in that room has come together now, because in some way cancer has affected all of us. But for example, one of the things that you learn to do as a family is you always have the Kroger bags around. You know, those little Kroger bags that you get, paper or plastic. You always carry the plastic bags around, because at any moment someone's going to puke. And that's a part of it that is just awful. And you learn an awful lot about drugs, and you learn a lot about experimental treatments and things like that. But at the end of the day, it's compassion for the person that you love, and try to help them through it. You try to help them beat it. And she never gave up. So you learn a lot about someone's will to live when they're going through that. When it's someone in your family, and I'm sure everyone in the room, you look to your left or to your right, if not you yourself, you're going through it yourself, or you have, it's so hard. It's so hard to watch a loved one die when they're going through this. And our job with Relay, and everybody's job, is to figure out a way to raise money, to find a way to stop this, because it is so painful. It's gruesome. It's terrible for the victims. It's so hard on the families, and we're fighting for her, and we're fighting for someone in this audience today, your brother or your sister, your mom or your dad or your grandma or your granddad or a cousin, someone like that. And so I really appreciate what you guys are doing there today. I hope this can serve as somewhat of an inspiration for you. Everyone has his or her own story, and there are some victory stories out there, I know, and with your help there'll be even more victory stories in the future. Thank you so much for what you're doing.